using my wonderful sheet of notes that I get lost in and go off on a tangent, so forgive me if I kind of start going off or kind of staring at this piece of paper. But yes, this is basically based on a phenomena from when I was watching anime with my husband, and we were going through the Annie chart for the new titles coming up and going, that one looks very nice, that one looks very nice, that one looks very nice, that one looks very nice. And we're like, where is some of the more grown-up titles? You know, where is the stuff where people get mauled and maimed and die and they need censorship bars for, because it just seemed to kind of have stopped. And basically, it's something I think that's a bit of a global thing going on at the moment that I kind of blame on the creation of the PG-13 rating. Basically, once upon a time we had 15s and 18s in the cinema. We went to the cinema to go see Trainspotting 2 the other day, and we were like, wow, when was the last time we saw an 18 in the cinema? I mean, February we were a bit lucky, we had 2 with that and Cure for Wellness, which is terrible. But I did not get on very well with it. But it was like, when was the last time I went to the cinema and saw an 18 rated film? Like, I couldn't think of anything.
Great, yeah.
I don't count that. That doesn't exist and should not exist. And then we noticed it with the anime they were watching. And basically, I think it was about 1984 when they edited in the extra 12 rating. And over the decades, at first it didn't really affect it, but over the decades there started coming out more and more stuff that was just rated PG-13. And I remember going into HMV and doing a retro film kick, and we brought home such beautiful titles as Con Air. And going, oh, I miss these kind of movies. And I miss things like the original RoboCop. And I miss all these old, like, action genre movies. And then they do keep making them. In fact, what they keep doing is remaking them. They're remaking them as 12s. And they've done it with RoboCop became a 12. I think Total Recall is now a 12. And you're just like, why are you doing this? And, like, luckily we have Netflix, and producers are willing to take risks on network-only shows, so places like HBO and Stars. But in Japan, the same thing's not happening. People aren't taking risks on adapting any of the darker titles anymore. That's why I do my fancy where was I moment. So, if you're like me and you've been watching anime for about 20 years, I got into anime like the late 80s, the early 90s, and I remember it was Film 4, Channel 4 did a season of anime, and I was introduced to Akira, Ghost in the Shell, these wonderful, beautiful titles. And I remember all these lovely works. I remember back in the day, one of my first paychecks, I went to HMV and bought Urusaki Doji on VHS. You know, nice little 14-year-old me going, this looks great. And I loved it. I was like, this is weird ass. This is violent, this is disturbing, there's demons everywhere. It's beautiful. I'm in love. I must find more of this anime. And this was the stuff that I grew up in. This is what got me into the anime scene, and this is what I absolutely adored. And then I met, well, I didn't meet, I fell in love with Yoshiaki Kawajiri. To me, like, he will be my favourite, like, anime director. Like, Ninja Scroll, Wicked City, Monster City, Cyber City Oedo, basically all the deranged cities, he made a movie about. And it was brilliant. They were dark, they were twisted, but they also had so much wonderful character development, interesting happenings, and they had older characters, younger characters, like, but relatable, non-relatable characters. They were wonderful, wonderful things, and they will always go down to some of my favourite films. Then, a little bit later on, I started getting into other animes that came past this genre, but I don't know anything that really throws back to these kind of days. For me now, like, I can't remember the last time I saw a film like Ninja Scroll. It was, especially like when it re-came out again, I was like, oh, thank God there's a Blu-ray edition of it. So each year, basically, was going past, and I wasn't finding anything that I loved as much. And some of my genres, particularly the horror genre and the dark shoujo genre, have just started dwindling. And also for me, very upsettingly, was the decline of the yaoi genre. And I was like, oh my God, even that's gone soft. And that's a terrible pun. Wait. Oh no, I don't do this. There we go. Right. So, one of my favourite genres, the horror genre. Last year, the only horror title that I remember watching was Myoga. Has anyone seen Myoga?
Yes.
Ooh, okay, very few people. This was the only horror title I can remember from last year coming out. It was a wonderful psychological horror about the disconnect between Japanese people. They're trying to escape their fears, their insecurities, and the pressures and the expectations of Japanese society. So they all go on a lovely trip to the lost village to leave it all behind. Basically, shit happens. Like, you know, dark stuff, all their fears, all their insecurities, all their nightmares chase them, and they have to face their fears and learn to kind of reconnect with themselves, each other, and society. It was, you know, it was dark, and it's by the people that did Another. So if you've seen Another, you'll know kind of like the world and the concept. And also it was another one where it was a mixed cast of peoples and ages. It was wonderful. And then like 2015, the year before, was Game of Replace. I don't know if anyone saw this one. This one totally slipped under the radar. Was another one that no one seems to have watched apart from if you're like me and go looking for all the hardcore horror stuff. And it was some of the most beautiful and twisted like serial killer murders in it. Like it had some wonderful visuals, like as you can tell from the character designs from the opening. It was dark, it was gritty, it was twisted, it was a little weird. Beautiful horror shows, but that's it. Like I remember when every year there was horrors, there was monsters, there were vampires, and there weren't these nice fluffy vampires that you date. They were vampires that still hate you. I still blame Twilight for a lot of that. But it's really unfortunate. Like over the years, some of the horrors that have really impressed me and really disturbed me on various levels have been School Days, Higurashi, Another, Monster, Parasite, LZSY, Corpse Party, Shiki, and Pupa. Pupa, if you haven't seen it, I warn you, it's the most disturbing thing I've ever seen, and I like Jurasaki Doji. So, you know, it's only short, they're 3-minute little episodes, but I'm not going to give it away in case you really want to, like, destroy your mind watching it, because it was written...
The book is much worse.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's nasty. And then, if anyone's seen Shiki, Shiki was one of the most... I think I'm preaching to the choir of you guys. But yeah, Shiki was one of the most beautiful vampire, like Salem's Lot-esque anime. Once it starts going, it's very violent, but it's very dark, but it's that wonderful time-old tale of who is the biggest monster. The vampires that live in the town, or the townsfolk for what they did to them, and how it escalates. Same like LZSY. If you've seen LZSY, it's blood, but with the character designs of clown, and it starts off with lovely songs about eating cake, and ends up with horrific monsters that have blending hand mixers that just pour villagers into it, and you go, where did that come from? It's like, you know, it was dark and gritty, and I loved it, but it's kind of just like started fizzling out. Now, if you've been to previous panels of mine, I'm always talking about this thing that I love called the Lost Decade. The Lost Decade is roughly 1991 to 2005, and basically in 1989, the Japanese bubble, this wonderful, like, happy economy kind of burst, and Japan saw this terrible period of, very bad problems with money and their economy, and one of the things that rose big time then was the rate of adult suicide, especially of fathers that could no longer provide for their families, and this created a disconnect between the youth culture of that time and the adult culture, and it was the rise of dissatisfied youth culture, is the nice way of putting it. But it was basically youth delinquents, the rise of violence, the loss of respect between young people and adults, and this is the era that produced a lot of these dark shows. This was the era that inspired things like Mirai Nikki, because this is when these kind of personalities started evolving, because they'd lost faith in themselves, they'd lost faith in the adults. And also, you know, I've always believed that anime, where it's great, is like a tool to explore culture, and one of the reasons I love it is to see all the darkness within society explored in the darkness of cinema. Unfortunately, later on, this aspect, this period of time, has been replaced with a new era, which I will talk about later, that I'm really thinking is changing the kind of anime that's being created now, and why I'm disconnecting from a lot of modern series. But first I thought, oh, have I gone from that to that? Hello? Which one again? I'm moving on too fast with my own speech. What came next is what I'm calling the judgment genre. The judgment genre is, if anyone's heard of Yoshiki Tonagai, all his animes are based on people wake up, they're trapped in a building, and the only way to get out of there is if they can agree which of them they're going to kill off in which order. You'll also notice that it's very similar to titles like Danganronpa, and recently a very new manga that's come out that I'm quite in love with called Real Account. This is the moving on from Lost Generation stuff, where it's now people are disconnected, not talking, it's very surreal being next to the karaoke. I'm like, people are dying, committing suicide. Mind
call
right
911.
Yeah, so basically it's all about judging your fellow citizens, and all the problems that have been within Japan are all being hidden generally, and then they're coming to the forefront, and now people are judging you for it. It's a great genre, it's really good, but the only one that really got an animated feature was Danganronpa. And so I went, well, how come Danganronpa, of all these other titles, is the only one that got an anime? What made it so popular? Is it the visualization, that it's quite over-exaggerated character designs, it's quite bright, it's colourful, it's shiny, it's quite nice to look at, the blood is neon pink or neon blue, so it doesn't look quite as dark? Or is it the fact that it was a game first, and therefore it had a guaranteed fan base, it had a guaranteed population that would invest in the anime? And this is kind of what it comes down to, the whole will it sell, which relates to the whole idea of the PG-13 genre. They are making movies for mass audiences now because it'll make more money. And sometimes a lot of things suffer when you're making them for profit rather than making them because you've got a good story to tell. So you have great people like Junji Ito. Has anyone ever read a Junji Ito manga? There we go, a couple of you. Junji Ito is brilliant mangaka. His stuff is some of the most bizarre and twisted and weird stuff you'll ever see. But for someone who's very famous, does very well with his manga sales, his stuff doesn't get turned into a feature-length animated series. He's had a couple of movies. Uzumaki and Gyo are amazing. Tony started off strong, but I think the later films have kind of lost the plot a little bit. But his work would really make a great long-running anime. They've got entire worlds and stories to tell, and it's just not happening when other things are happening. You're like, why is this person who's been around for so long creating great works, why is that not coming out? But is it because his style is too niche, and therefore it's not going to make money, and that producers don't want to invest in something that they're not going to make a profit off of? Same works for the good old action and sci-fi genres. If you've been watching anime for 20 years, you'll remember Fist of the North Star. And yes, it was cheesy and over the top, and people were blowing up left, right and centre, and guts were flying out all over the place, but wonderful. It was wonderful. And one of my favourite cyberpunks was Armitage 3. An amazing cyberpunk series, wonderful action, wonderful world. To me, these are some of the great classics. I hate to call them classics because now it makes me feel old. I'm only in my 30s. But yeah, stuff like this isn't being created anymore. That really kind of harsh action. The action there's some really good fun action stuff. I'm not going to discount One Punch Man for being absolutely brilliant. But the reason it's brilliant is because it's satire and parody of these older genres. But there isn't anything new and aggressive coming out that I'm going, oh yes, punch him, let the guts fall out, look his head fell off. Because I'm a really genuinely nice person like that. There is nothing better than Southern waterfall technique and watching a person turn to ribbons. It's I miss it so much. So a little later after these, there did come out some shows that I heavily loved. Basilisk was my answer to Ninja Scroll. It was brilliant. It's dark, it's twisted, it's ninjas, they're adults. Really enjoyed it. The original Berserk series, hard-hitting fantasy, wonderful show. Psycho Pass was maybe the last great cyberpunk. I don't know where the cyberpunk genre is. I feel like that's a whole topic on itself, which apparently someone is doing a panel after me on. But I'm I was where did cyberpunk go? Why won't people...
We need the last grade one.
Yeah. Then last year we watched Brunhilde in the Darkness, which I just totally on a whim randomly watched it, and I remembered what censorship bars were, because I was like, oh my goodness, I've actually made something dark enough that is censorship bars back again. And then God bless Terraformers. I love Terraformers. People are like, oh my goodness, is this the most violent anime made? And I sit there watching it going, is it that violent? Or do I just really like people exploding?
Column A, column B.
But I don't know if anyone has seen Terraformers. Oh no, no one's seen Terraformers. Terraformers is amazing. It's basically Nazi scientists decided to try and terraform Mars by leaving cockroaches in it. And cockroaches grow up to giant human-hating, destroying war machines that run around the place going juji for some unknown reason. I don't know why cockroaches say juji. So basically, they've taken over Mars, and Earth are like, oh no, we're dying, we've got to move to Mars. But the evil cockroach people are literally like smushing us all to death. So I know we're going to genetically engineer people with the traits of insects to go make them fight. And it just like hits the first episode is like, that's interesting, and then from the second episode onwards you're like, well, don't get attached to anybody because it's literally like Smash or Dead for like 12 episodes, and just like it's like Fifth of the North Star. It's just violence, smack, smack, smack. Oh, I really like that character. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. It works. It's one of those great, terrible, over the top, violent action like sci-fi shows that I'm like, oh, I'm so glad this came out, like because. Don't know what I'd be doing. I'd be sitting there going, oh no, I can't watch anything. No one's died in like 2 weeks on television.
We're pretty sick people in here, you know that.
It's a great thing, this is what I watch in my spare time, and then I go back to school to work with the children. I'm like, yeah!
Wow, we learned today.
That's why you need to watch this stuff.
That basically, yeah. You work with children,
balance.
you do need an escape. Yeah. So this brings me on to the loss of one of my favourite genres, dark shoujo. I don't think dark shoujo may even really exist now, but these are some of my favourite animes ever created. Angel Sanctuary, Yami no Matsuri, X and Utena. All beautiful, all had a wonderful aesthetic, dark world. I like the morally ambiguous characters, morally ambiguous relationships, the world, the structures. It's wonderful. And also, like, off of dark shoujo, I had the yaoi genre. And now I mean, some of it's sweet and nice, and like, you know, I'll watch Ginger Romantica and it's slice of life and it's fluffy. But, you know, back in the day I had Eno Kusabi about, like, say, sex slave prison camps and, like, terrorism. And I'm like, where have my sex slave camps gone? Why have I got another high school romance when once I had gangsters and yakuzas and, like, you know. And I was like, oh, it's all got so nice, and I'm just like, it's sad when, like, you know, you're mourning the loss of porn, and you're like, oh my goodness. Like, I got into anime, like, half of the violence and half of the porn, as I say. Welcome to school, yay! So, later on, there has been a couple of good titles came out. Has anyone seen Himitsu, The Revolution? That's a really interesting one about this brand new technique using some supercomputer and science that basically it records the last thing you see before you die. And so they have the murder victims come in, they scan their retinas, see the last scenes, piece together the crimes, but it's also got this ambiguous main character who's like, I don't know if you're meant to be male or female, but I'm pretty sure he's male and in love with his partner, and then a serial killer who likes to kill beautiful boys is killing beautiful boys and decorating them aesthetically to lure out the detective. So it's all so lovely. It was like, oh, what a romance. And I was just like, oh, Himitsu, The Revolution. It's a really good one, but another one that kind of just slipped under the radar, and no one really was like, yeah, no one's really watched it apart from me, because I find all the videos. Game of Plays, Simeon, which is another beautiful show, dark shoujo, about lesbian fighter pilots. That was like, no, why has no one but me seen Simeon? It's beautiful. Oh, apart from my new heroes over there. And then the vampire genre went the way of Twilight, where they all started dating the vampires. And I mean, I did like Trinity Blood. It was visually impressive. I just felt that some of the characterization started to fall flat, and I wanted to know more about them and their journeys, rather than like I mean, it was stunning, and the character designs, I mean, it looks nothing like the manga, because the manga is truly stunning, but they toned it down and kept it safe. And then the thing that everyone always goes, how could you? It's like, I don't like Vampire Night. I'm like, it's just a bit too nice for me. And again, I'm like, oh, they're dating the vampires again, and they have true feelings. I just watched the truly most awful thing in the world called Dance with Devils, which was, and I don't know why I did it, but you know, I thought a show about devils would be really cool, like hot Bishonen devils. It turns out they break out into random musical number and sing about their life. And I'm sitting there going, oh, it starts off with her going down to be sacrificed as the altar to bring back the Demon King, and I was like, well, this seems good. And then all the devils fall in love with her and dance around her and sing. And I was just like, you're devils, I mean, some of the numbers are particularly entertaining. But, you know, it's not a show you watch for any highbrow intelligence. And I literally, like, I could barely watch it really, but every now and again they would break into a musical number, like Welcome to the Library, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can get down with that. But it is truly awful. I do feel a bit ashamed that I watched it all. So yeah, as I said, the thing I loved most about like dark shoujo was there was a lot of questionable morals and questionable like characters and their relationships, and these kind of things have slowly started filtering out. Like, I think Clamp need to create something new so I can kind of go, yay, everybody's in love with everybody that they probably shouldn't be in love with. Yeah, it's like, I generally did, and then like, yeah. I don't know if anyone remember watching things like Wes Croix or Gensaman and Sayuki, wonderful shows that were about like 4 attractive guys would go on an adventure and they've all been abused in the past. And I sell these so well. That was a whole genre for years of attractive boys that had been abused turn out to be assassins. And it's like, it was great. Now they don't do that. Every time I see a new show starring Bishonens, they're singing. And I'm like, I love musicals, but you know what, sometimes I want to know about that time you were locked in a cell for 50 years, or that time, like, you know, you slept with your sister and got stoned and reincarnated, and, you know, you're in love with your best friend, but no, it's just like...
I think the reason this stuff is disappearing because when people watch things like this nowadays, they get triggered very badly.
Yeah.
FBI files.
It's just, I suppose, it's just like, it depends on, like, how you're watching it and stuff, but like, I don't think things should totally be erased. I think I know what triggers me, so I'll make sure if I'm watching something, I'll be like, well, I know this is going to be in it, so I'm going to step away from it. That's why I had to stop watching Game of Thrones. It was one of the things like, I don't think oh no, maybe I'll come back, and if I've got a pact that I will leave the room and Luke will call me back when certain scenes are over, and I'm like, it's safe to come back in now, we're good, there's dragons eating people. I'm like, oh, thank God. but yeah, so these are one of the things that, by today's standards, Cardcaptor Sakura seems dark.
What?
Because things have got so nice and fluffy that, like, Cardcaptor Sakura that had, you know, lesbian characters, gay characters, it had her dealing with angst issues. It seems dark compared to some of the like the stuff that's coming out later that I will mention in a moment. Madoka is brilliant. It managed to have a visual style that I wouldn't have gone anywhere near, because I took one look at it and thought cute magical girls, and then Luke was like, no, watch it, and I went, no, that tricked me completely into what it was about. And I love Yurikuma Arashi, but the one thing they're starting to suffer from is that visual style that someone as an older fan is finding hard to connect with, because I am in my 30s and I feel like my anime characters, a lot of them are starting to get younger, and younger, like seriously, visually, like before there was a bit more of a balance between like animes that had older looking characters and younger looking characters. Now it's not, and one of the things that I think is the reason is the rise of the moe and the idol culture. I'm going to say this, it's not that I hate moe and I hate idol culture. I think there's been an oversaturation of it. I, for one, actually adore Show by Rock, because I think it's cute and fun, and I like the music, I like the character designs. I think Gravitation is all the gods of anime. It's an amazing series. It's, you know, it's got a really good like relationship dynamic. I feel like everyone who's going nuts for Yuri and I should go back in time and watch Gravitation and go, do you want to see what, like, you know, a romantic relationship in the workplace looks like? Come on. This is like probably about 20 years old now, Gravitation. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's like 10 years old.
No.
I can handle that idea. I can handle
It's
old.
No, it's not old. It's only 10 years ago. Only 10 years
No,
ago.
Zoe.
Only 10 years ago,
And then every now and again, even I want to see a bunch of pretty boys parading around a stage singing. So I watch it to No Prince. It was fine when that came out, but I think in the last month, like something like 5 pretty boys that dance on stage animes came out, and I was like, oh god, come on guys, like, and they're not telling me anything new. They're not doing anything different. It's literally like, we sing and we pretty, and I'm like, okay. Now bring on the next level of the storytelling. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, basically that's what Uta No Prince. Each season is like, oh no, we haven't quite spelt out the name of the band. We need to hire a new member to dance in it. Oh yes, we can finally spell our name. I mean, I know that's kind of how it works with Johnny's. Being a Katoon fan for ages, I'm now like, Katoon can't spell their name anymore because bandmates keep leaving. But and also, it's not that idols haven't been a part of anime and stories for a long time. Like literally, Macross is like a whole worlds are built around the power of the song and how like an idol can inspire people, how you can do great things. Like Pris is an amazing character, and just because she's also an idol doesn't take away or anything from the fact that she's also a truly like wonderful action hero. And then Mima from Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is one of those absolute masterworks, and also I feel like a lot of like idol anime should maybe watch it and go, what's the dangers of getting overly obsessed with your anime idols, and what it's like if you put a woman on a pedestal and how she can eventually break, because it's kind of like the very opposite end of the spectrum for what idol culture like is doing. And it's like, you know, but unfortunately there's so much now. We were in Japan only like a year and a bit ago, and we went to Akihabara, and it was just literally like idol store, idol store, idol store, and it was just like I just want to go and like, you know, buy some stuff from some other anime, and you go past the AKB48 like theatre, and it's a terrifying place because it's just like, you know, hundreds of 40-year-old men going yay girls, and you're just like, ooh, I'm not sure how I feel about this now. Like, I think even if I like idols and stuff, I wouldn't be able to go up to a band if I knew they were all 15-year-olds or something. I'd be like, that's very nice that you make good music, well done. But like, it's like I won't listen to One Direction or get too excited by them because it's like, you know, they could go to my school. I mean, they're probably actually not as young as I think they are, but in my head they're all 16, 17 and probably should still be in school. But yeah, but so the idol anime, and some of them I bet are really good, and it's just. It was like when reality TV all of a sudden exploded. Like some reality TV, it's actually quite entertaining. I'm obsessed with anything that Gordon Ramsay does. If Gordon Ramsay's in it, shouting at people to cook, I'm there.
Punching salmon.
Punching salmon. One of my favourite things every year from Hell's Kitchen is him calling somebody a donkey and punching a salmon. every year, 16 seasons of Hell's Kitchen, I'm still like, yeah, it's fucking raw. What are you people doing? Do you not watch this show that you auditioned for? But like, they got more and more, and it's kind of like, I remember when Toddlers and Tiaras came out, and we all sat there and watched it in horrific kind of like, why am I watching this? This is awful. But now they've got things like Honey Boo Boo, and you're just like, okay, like, this is how I'm feeling with the idol stuff. Like, the great ones that became popular are spinning off all these countless ones that just are trying to be that or commercialise on it. And there is something very much about idol culture that is selling in Japan at the moment. Like, we went to Harajuku, and back in the day I used to be quite like into the visual kei. I went to Harajuku and it was amazing. We went back to Harajuku, we're like, oh yeah, some visual kei, some rock, and we're like, wow, it got pink here. Like, so when Harajuku is just like, pink, fluffy, like, look at all these lovely little outfits, and I'm like, oh, why is everything pink? Like, I used to be able to find like corsets and wonderful black visual kei outfits, and it's just like, oh, sometimes, you know, I mean, life changes and it moves on, but in the way that like reality TV is just everywhere, I find that there is just too much of this now. And there's like more anime than ever is being made. Like we went through the anime charts for like years to see what was coming out, and like remember some years like 5 shows came out, and then now there's like, well, you've got seasons of it. There's like 30 odd shows for every like season, but with more of it, it's coming out less of the stuff I want and more of stuff that's so very similar, so very like in competition for those sales figures. And then that comes with my kind of problem with the moe thing. Like, the kawaii culture has been part of anime for ages. And you know what? Some people really love cute stuff. And that's fine. You're allowed to like cute stuff. I happen to really like dark stuff. It's just, moe sits the complete opposite end of the spectrum to anything I'm enjoying. And the hard part is when it starts bleeding into other genres. Like when Binan came out, I got really excited by the idea of this anime about pretty boys that got magical girl wands and turned into little magical sailor scouts. I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be so good. It's going to be so gay. I'm going to love it. And I was just like, oh my goodness. It was just like, you know, it was so intensely tooth-rottingly sugar with their love beams. And I'm like, this could have been a really good satire, but it's not. It's a pink love wombat and love beams and heart powers, and it just wouldn't let you rest from sugars and hearts and sugars and hearts. And I was just like, whoa. And this is why I'm saying that Cardcaptor Sakura is a bit more edgy, because at least it didn't like throw over Sakura and like do. I used to watch Tokyo Mew Mew back in the day. I'm pretty sure even that didn't even like hurt me as much as like watching Binan did. And then to get ready for this panel, Luke made me watch a load of openings for new shows, because I can't watch a lot of the anime stuff. I find the characters too young, and it's all just so fluffy and nice, and it's just not what I want. And some of these things, I sat there and you should have seen me. It was like I was being tortured. One thing that truly hurt my soul was this Kodomodo G-Cam thing, and I was just like, oh my goodness, they're so young. They're so young, and I think they're about 5, and I think one's in love with her teacher, and they're singing, and
they're in the knickers all the time.
Yeah, and they were just like, why am I watching 5-year-olds? I mean, they're literally the same age as like the kids I teach. And I'm just like, no, this is getting weird for me. And we watch some of the other ones, and there's a lot of hearts and pink and spinning, and I'm like, you know, I bet in there are some animes that use the moe thing to its advantage. I think Madoka did it because it tricked me by going, look how cute and pretty we are. No, your heart is dead now. It's just like, I was like, oh, don't judge a book by its cover. Really, really shouldn't. But I don't know, I feel like because it sells so well and because it's getting so popular, studios are not trying to do anything dark or edgy now because they know they've got guaranteed money. And also these are safe for mass audiences. It's like the PG-13. The wider audience means wider sales. You can commercialise and commodify this. You can buy cute like little Nendroids and plushies of these guys, but I'm not entirely sure the last time like you got a nice cute plushie of a character from, well, most of the series that I do watch. Shiki, yeah. I'd love to get some plushes of Shiki characters and have just like, you know, little vampire people living on my bed. But Luke might not like that. But you know.
Seems fine.
But you know, I was like, especially the characters I asked for Shiki, I'd love models of that. But I don't want models of all this. I don't even want these boys. These boys. I don't want them. And there's so many like pretty singing boys that don't do anything else now. And I'm like, I remember when you used to be assassins. Come on, guys. Come on. Like, and even things like. But it's like I tried to watch Bungo Stray Dogs, and Bungo Stray Dogs. I was like, okay, they're men. They've got powers. They fight, and this is really boring. It's just like they're not doing anything else. They're not concentrating on in-depth character development. So I was trying to think about how some of the studios taking a risk are trying to get past this. They're not going to make the money back on the sales. What are they going to do to try and get their work out there? And the new thing that's been is the creation of this CGI animation. Now, before I go on, I'm going to ask, do people like this?
No.
Berserk is terrible.
See, I adore the Argent manga. I adore the original Berserk. I lasted 1 episode of both of those shows because I couldn't get on with the animation. It's something about the facial expressions of characters. I remember in Berserk there's one girl that gets kidnapped and she's like, I have been kidnapped. And you're just like, quirk an eyebrow, have some shading, like just have some like scratchy pencil work so I know that you're in shock or something. And it was just like, it's losing it for me. And also because they blended, so this still is so perfect because but you can tell those are CGI skeletons. It looks like it's walking out of a, you know, an old 90s computer game. And I think the old like Berserk computer game probably looked better than that. Because I don't like the way you can tell it's not meant to be there. And because, like with the Arjans, because you can tell it's not meant to be there, it takes you out of the experience of trying to watch something great. Like the character designs and the creatures in Arjun are beautiful. Like, they really are. And Arjun is like, it filled that hole with Dead Man Wonderland left for me. It was a really like, it was a good, I mean, I'm still reading the manga, so we'll see how it continues, but it is good. I don't like what the CG is doing. And it's this loop of like, they're going to this cheaper form of animation because it doesn't cost as much, they can take a risk. But they've taken the risk, they're making these shows, they just don't look right. Like there's the people who like Gans, the people who created Gans, created a new series called Inuyashiki about an old dude that gets hit by a weapon and with an alien ship, and the alien ship go, oh no, shit, we've killed a person. Let's put him back together again, or use some parts we've got in it, and obviously they just load him up with weapons. And he's this old dude dying of cancer in his 60s who was just like, I hate my life, and now he's a weapon of like indestructible, and he's just like, well, it's time to kind of just, you know, shoot some shit up, and like, you know, it's like, and it's great because the protagonist of the manga is a grumpy 60-year-old Japanese man who just, as you know, he's 40, but the joke is he's so weathered by life that he looks 60 and his wife hates him and his kids hate him, and you know, he's not having, and I was like, oh my goodness, Inuyashiki is going to be made, it's going to be action, it's going to have great social commentary, it's going to be violent, it's going to be interesting, and then the still came out and it was like, look at my facial expression, and you're like, you have no facial expression, and I'm like, oh no, now maybe this will improve, but if it continues like this, I don't like this style, and I don't think it's working. I miss hand-drawn stuff, and maybe I'm just an older anime fan now, maybe I'm just a bit pretentious with my anime, who knows? I'm not getting on with it, and I don't see it working. It's nice they are trying to bring out some of these darker titles, I just wish they weren't the CG ones. But yeah, so because of what's going on, I feel like a lot of anime is either going on two ways. It's going the Michael Bay way of like, is it going to make money? And it doesn't matter how terrible it could look, or what the story is, or character development, because you know what, people are still going to go out and buy it and spend money on it because it's that thing they love. Or it's just kind of like fizzling out that the anime that was in my generation is just not the new generation of anime. There are exceptions to every rules and things that like slip through the gaps. Like, we are living in an era where Tokyo Ghoul and Attack on Titan became two of the most popular series. And it blows my mind that those two are quite harsh, violent shows, and everyone went nuts for them. So why are they not trying to push more things that are similar to that? If those became so big, like, and is it because, again, Japan is a very domestic market. It doesn't really do a lot of like as much trading in the global marketplace as it wants, and it also doesn't like to sell a lot of its merchandise. I mean, anyone who's ever tried to buy like action figures or anything knows that like you have to import them from Japan. They're not that easily accessible unless you do what we did and went over with one empty suitcase and one suitcase for clothes and just filled it up with everything we found in Akihabara. You know, not everyone can do that, and then that's just like, well, that's where your money got. You go, oops, savings. But I've lost my place. Brain. Yeah, so, and there, I mean, there are exceptions that have come. Of last month, two of the most amazing animes came out, and we keep going, who's seen it? And no one has seen them. And we're like, oh, thank God. We were just like...
Cabaneri is good.
Cabaneri, I mean, we've got 2 or 3 episodes before the end of that one, but I'm like, if Attack on Titan can be as big as it is, Cabaneri should be up there with it, because it's every bit as good as Titan. And also the animation is divine on it. It's beautiful. Its characterizations, beautiful. It's got shaking. It's got a very old school sense of like visual style. Like one of the girls that it reminds me of Vampire Princess Miyu from back in the day. It's brilliant. And then the other thing that's phenomenal is Drifters. Like, holy crap, that's one of the best animes I've seen in years. and it was like everything I ever wanted in an anime. It's dark, it's gritty, it's fun, it's fast, and it's brilliant. And I'm like, again, like, why are people not going nuts for Drifters? I expected like merchandise everywhere. I was expecting people to kind of go, as I was watching, go, this is phenomenal, let's go on Tumblr, because that's what you do these days. You go on Tumblr and try and find it. And I was like, no
one's talking about it.
So no one's really, like, you know, everyone on Tumblr is still talking about Yuri on Ice. And I'm like, dudes, I get it, it's brilliant, I loved it, but you know, I like all that better. And a lot of people are like, damn you, and I'm like, I like it better. But yeah, so there are hope, there are titles coming out and clearly being given time, and I know that Drifters has been commissioned for a second series, so that is incredibly happy news. And then there is great manga coming out, at least. Like the stuff in manga, I mean, I love watching anime because I like a visual, moving media. But, you know, there are some mangas out there, two that I would love to see being made into are I'm a Hero and the Mr. Yuad. Terrible typo there. Kurosaki Corpse Delivery Service. Anyone read either of these? These are phenomenal. I haven't watched the live action for I'm a Hero, but I'm a Hero is basically if like Japan did The Walking Dead with an overworked, underappreciated manga
How
artist.
would they start I'm a Hero as a man? Because it's the first part of it, it's just so, like, nothing happens.
Nothing,
Season
yeah.
1, like, nothing.
Yeah, they would have to try and they'd have to do it that flashback way if they made it, so people weren't sitting there just watching this dude go to work and be really upset with his job and possibly mental, because, you know, that's that whole line of is he seeing stuff, is it really going down? But it's one of the few times I remember when I was flicking through it, and if you ever get the chance to read it, and for those who have, you'll know what I'm talking about. So when he goes to visit his girlfriend, and I flicked over, and I was like, and I had to put it down because I was like, whoa. Whoa, I've never, like, it's been a while since anything, like, in the format has made me kind of go, nope, that is coming for me, that is Nightmares Forever, that was, like, Sadako Ring moment, like, proper, like, ooh. And Kurosaki Corpse Delivery Service is this great story of a group of trainee, like, Buddhist monks that all discover they have this weird, like, quirky, individual, like, powers around death and dead people. So they work together to find a corpse, talk to it, and the corpse will tell them its last wish, and they will go and solve the various mysteries around this corpse's death. Most of the time, it's some pretty hardcore, like, nasty stuff that's going on. So there's a lot of, like, the serial killers. It's like, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give away because they are brilliant. These are two titles that I was like, oh, thank goodness, this is what I've always loved about the genre, and I'd love to see as fully animated shows, because I think they'd be very visually stunning, very interesting, and just a break from colour and noise that is a lot of the moe and the idol stuff. And I'm sure there's good stuff in there. People could probably tell me some stuff that I would actually like, but I just find I'm not getting on with it. I don't know if others agree or don't agree, but like, this is why I always open up my books to everyone to share, discuss, ask. Yes?
I've got one question. What's the piracy rates like in Japan? The reason I ask is because if the money's, what you're saying, you think a lot of it's because of
Commercialisation.
the money not being there. So the first question is how much are people pirating stuff?
You don't see piracy. I mean, unless they're doing it very underground, it's not...
No, I'm talking about online.
Online.
Yeah, ripping.
They really don't.
No,
They don't.
in Japan it's really really illegal. They kind of really stamp down on
It's
like
really illegal over here, but it's
No, it's more of, okay, so Japan has a slightly different cultural ethic,
Yeah.
and because of that, it's not kind of part of their like national consciousness to pirate products and to do certain things like that. It's just not, and also they've got their own. I mean, maybe they would rip it, but it would be in Japanese society, though, because I mean, it's a country that has its own version of YouTube because that's why you don't. It's hard to explain, but they're very internally based, and because of that moral strictness, and also kind of quite like I think they've got quite some harsh laws around it as well.
So the total money pot is still there.
Yeah. But there's been figures and facts gone under the last year that the manga industry is declining in Japan, which is why a lot of stuff is being outsourced to Korea animated studios, the birth of the CG stuff, because they seem to be declined, and it's weird because that's going down, but when you go to places like Akihabara and stuff now, it isn't about the anime and manga as much as it is about these idol bars, and they're just, it's scary how everywhere they are.
The merchandise.
That's what Japanese people are into now. That's their big thing, and it's kind of impacting on the sales of anime and manga.
So it's the overall demand is suppressed.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not very good at like pointing and going, yes, lovely lady over there.
Do you think it's a knock-on effect from the recession? Because I know that when the recession hit, 8 years ago, 10
Yeah.
years ago, a lot of anime and manga focus was on stuff that sold, so to use a horrible term, there was a lot of focusing on people that had that disposable income instead of pirating, so therefore they deal with borderline lolicon, hence more of the moe, the idol stuff that you've talked about. Do you think the kind of, we were getting somewhere with the adult stuff, oh no, actually let's deal with these 14-year-old girls that are like 10-year-olds, for example. Sailor Moon was designed with leggy model, older characters in mind, whereas you look at a 14-year-old today in anime and they are drawn like a 10-year-old, there's a bit of a crossover.
I think definitely like it's a lot to do with economy with these. With most of like an industry and a country's economy shapes what's happening within it. And Japan's had some recessions. One of the problems is because it doesn't like to work in the global marketplace and it has a domestic market, it's kind of going round and round in circles. And then the other thing is, because of knock-on effects of economy, like over the years we've noticed that the growth of like Frita and NEET culture, and the whole like there's no longer a guaranteed job. Like Japan's, I don't know if you know about their work system, but it's like a school to job. So you get trained and then you go to the job fair, you sign up for your job, and that's your job for life. And young people, seeing the way the rest of the world is working, don't want that life. So they're getting part-time jobs. And same like women are no longer going straight into marriage. So there's a lot more disposable income on certain young people and women, and they're the ones that are being targeted. And then because women aren't getting married, there's that subsection of like men aren't getting married. So there's now a lot more older single men without wives that have extra money, but don't know how to relate to the women who are going out partying and buying things. They're like, oh, these are not the traditional Japanese women that I was always told that I was going to grow up and marry. So they're like, well, you know what, I'm going to go and spend my money having lovely young idols sing and dance. And it's like there's all these different little factors that are all, and I don't know what's going to be the breaking point. I don't know what's going to be the thing that breaks all these various cycles and goes and creates a new art form or a new kind of big buzz within Japanese media.
Yeah, I'd like to think Netflix or some form of going back to the 80s globalization, using different studios for a global sellable item instead of just selling to these folks that have disposable income and everything.
I think once the Olympics gets to Japan and they open it up for all of that, I think that will make Japan realise what they can do within the global market and also what people are seeing and kind of like what they are stereotypically, what's the word? What they think they're seeing in the anime industry. A lot of people who don't know anime and manga, who will be Westerners, will go in and be like, what's this going on? And the Japanese people might be a bit shell-shocked when people are going, why are you watching 14-year-olds? Okay.
Do you think this trend extends to other media such as TV series and video games?
That's interesting, because I don't know if it does it to video games, but then I'm not as big a gamer.
Dramas, though. I mean, are they getting a bit more mundane? Are they getting a bit more blasé and less pushing the boat, less itchy?
You know what? I would probably say yes, because I stopped watching Japanese TV dramas.
I would say this too, otherwise we wouldn't ask the question.
Yeah. I could have gone, no, John, no, totally, no. No, actually, because I used to watch a lot of the Japanese dramas, and
They really were very neat. And nowadays, it's just formulating crap.
the difference with the dramas is that basically Korean drama got really popular. Korean dramas are really good. And a lot of Japanese, particularly girls and women, were getting very obsessed with Korean dramas and the Korean actors. And Japanese producers, and it's a very male-dominated industry, got a little miffed that these women were going, oh my goodness, I love this drama from Korea, and they started making the similar stuff to some of the Korean stuff that had been popular, and it's all this very like awkward romance of error comedy type shows. And whenever you try and remake and emulate someone else's thing rather than doing your own unique thing, it doesn't always work, it falls flat. So like if you've ever watched a remake of any movie, you're kind of going, why did you do that?
I have a second question, is that I noticed in Japan that things like Attack on Titan were extraordinarily heavily publicised. It became everything you saw when you were in that country at that time. Everything was Attack on bloody Titan. Attack on Titan Potato, Attack on Titan this, that, the other.
They had the burgers as well, didn't they?
So it's no surprise that Attack on Titan was a success. Was it a success because of its quality and because Japanese people wanted it? Or was it a success because somebody had simply pushed it out there? And is it making the decisions about what to push are making...
Yeah, I mean, Attack on Titans, I think being is the fact that it was produced by a company that that gave it such a big push really, really did help it. But it was also, it was quite unique. Like, I think it has enough originality and difference to everything else that was being made that God bless the person that went, actually this is different, let's try and push it. But I don't know if other companies are as brave to do that. I think it's like Tokyo Ghoul got a pretty big push, but I didn't like the second series. And I just felt that it started getting flat, and it's got one of the most god-awful openings. I just sat there going, really, you're Tokyo Ghoul? It's just a terrible opening. But I don't know if Tokyo Ghoul was as popular in Japan as it was over here. Some of the stuff that spreads like wildfire is popular by Western standards, but not as popular within Japan. I'm gonna... Hello, person at the back.
I don't know if you mentioned Kane and Lane. You mentioned things like Bob Psycho 100, because that's really good and I didn't expect that.
I've only watched the first 3 episodes of it, so I felt like I couldn't really kind of go blah 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 blah. But from what I've seen of it, I like it. It's that nice, like, very visual, like, horror, but I don't know if it escalates anymore from the point.
It's still really
Oh, okay, so there you go, because I've only seen the beginning of it. I'm like, I like this, okay, so yeah, so it's good to know it escalates, because I think then I will finish watching the series. Yes.
With Netflix buying a lot of anime and also commissioning, or at least seeding money for them, and the rumours that Amazon are going to be doing the same because they're literally 12 months behind Netflix. Given their ability to get a target market and actually make money off everything they make, so they know how many people want it, do you reckon that might give a boost for, for which a better phrase, more distinct stuff that is this dark materials? Because a lot of the non-dark material seems to be just the same shit with a different t-shirt.
Yes. The oversaturation of that. Yeah, I think Netflix has been a godsend, in all honesty, because of Netflix I have shows like Sense8, which is a brilliant show that would never have existed unless Netflix had the balls to kind of go. And also Netflix gave us Stranger Things. But everyone was like, no one will want that, and everyone's like, no, we totally want throwbacks to the 80s. Like, this is what we missed, and it's become hugely popular. And some of the anime they've commissioned has been it's stuff that I want to see. Like, I started watching Terror and Resonance. I like Seven Deadly Sins. It can be a bit odd sometimes, but I enjoy it. And I think it, bringing these across, and also I think it'll be good for the Japanese markets to see what happens when you trade outside, and it kind of have a fan base and popular and make sales, and hopefully do more titles like that. I mean, it'll be interesting to know if Netflix is big in Japan, because they are so anti. They've got their own YouTube, and they've got their own mobile phone network. They don't use there's no iPhones or Samsungs. It's all. So it has got across there.
I don't know how much it's got across there. I know it's available.
We've got some J-dramas on Netflix, so...
Yeah, a couple of them have turned up, yeah. So I think whoever works at Netflix, they're a genius and they're doing really good things, so we'll hope it kind of continues. And then, hopefully.
A certain anime on the front slide that actually did mention it.
Oh, the very first one, that was Ghost Hound. Yeah. Has anyone seen Ghost Hound? Ghost Hound is really good. It's truly unique because it's about astral projection, and I'll leave it at that because it's one you have to see. It's Yeah, I mean, there were so many animes when I was doing this that I could talk about. I was literally like, oh, I can mention that one. Oh, I can mention that one. Oh, and I was like, I had to kind of like really cut down like about 1 million pictures because it would just be picture spamming me for the evening. Going, watch this one's good. Watch this. Has anyone seen this one? And also, if anyone like knowing about Mob Psycho is good because now I'm going to be able to go and watch that. But if anyone like knows anything that I've missed from the last year that I really should be watching.
Are you aware of Scum's Wish going right now?
No.
No close relationships.
That's going on this. I'm one of those terrible people that I'm not very good at watching it weekly, so I wait for an anime to finish and then I binge watch it all in one sitting. So I'll be like, that one, oh yeah, I'll go up the list because there's other stuff that I'm trying out and things, but I'm basically all the new season stuff, and I watched the first episode of everything to see what I'm going to continue with, and I've literally been just like colours and sparkles and noise, colours and sparkles and noise, colours and sparkles and noise, and musical numbers, and I'm just like, I want something that isn't colours and sparkles and noise. Every now and again it's fun, but it's everywhere.
Would you put something like School Life as a darker series? School Life.
It's the one you said I should watch first. It's about zombies.
Oh, yes, it's the... I read up on it, I looked at the character designs, and apparently it really, really is quite bloody and violent.
It's a bait and switch, it's like Mother.
Not what it seems.
Yeah, that's what, basically whenever a show like that comes out, I get my husband to watch it, and then I go, well, I like it because they look very girl, and so yeah.
You should watch that. We stopped watching after the first 2 minutes, and that was a mistake.
Ah, okay, so I don't know how I'm doing for time. Oh!
Seriously, this is not my worried face.
I've overrun slightly. But yeah, but thank you for coming. Obviously, if you want to chat more, I'm always in the bar. But it's been a pleasure.